Hello and welcome to the Shine the Light On podcast. My name is Eli Brown, founder of Shine the Light On. Shine the Light On was created after I went through a personal struggle with mental health. After I came through the other side of my challenges, I wanted to create something that would be a platform for youth all around the world to share their story. Each week, we will have a new guest to discuss how mental health has touched their lives. Thank you so much for tuning in.
I tend to fall into routines where I'll do the same kind of thing, watch the same kind of thing. And it's like you have to actively be, you have to be proactive about your mental health, physical health, just, about everything. And that sucks that it's getting harder to find what you need it the most.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just a crazy thing because then also I saw on Netflix, there was this documentary called The Social where it shows the impacts of social media on society. It was one of the things I wanted to speak to you about later. But it was interesting that they said that fake news spreads 6 times as quickly as real news. And that's why you see so much of it, because news companies want to make money, and the best way to make money is get the most amount of eyes on something. Right. So that fake news spreads so much quicker, and in a way that the same thing happens with bad news. And it's probably why whenever we're turning on the TV, there always seems to be a new world crisis rather than reporting on some of the good stuff that's happening in the world.
Right. You multiply what you focus on.
Correct.
And they want us to focus on the fear and the division.
Correct. And
they got me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I struggle a lot. I'm struggling in this time to continue to be positive. I think I have a little bit of a pessimistic slant just as it is. And that's not wrong for people. You're not always supposed to yes, you're supposed to go to your higher self, but be where you need to be on that spectrum. I can't let that pessimistic thing get out of hand. Mm-hmm. A little bit of it is okay. It's just kind of naturally how I feel, but wow, it can skyrocket in times like this when you're alone so much of the time, and when you literally are I was right, none of it means anything. We're screwed. But that's not it. That's not it at all. This cannot be a meaningless thing at all. I really believe that, and I know that I believe that, but it's really getting tested right now, just because you feel like you can't trust anybody. You feel like even in your own family, there's divisions with politics and how to keep the future, and just nothing feels safe. Mm-hmm. And you realize you gotta establish that safety kind of within yourself, wherever you're, be the eye of the storm or whatever they say.
Yeah, and that's been one of the toughest things for me over the past couple of months was I was so busy before COVID and before lockdowns, and we're probably now about to go into another lockdown. And I was always doing things, seeing friends, always at work. And through this time, I've had a lot more time alone, and to be able to reflect internally and feel more comfortable with being alone, and the discomfort that gave me at the very beginning of this. It's been a wild journey going from not feeling super comfortable on my own to now feeling much more comfortable on my own.
How'd you make that transition so fast?
It was just, you were talking about a division and having to be okay with yourself.
But how did you do that? How did you become okay with it? Because I still feel literally I'm going to jump off a cliff half the time. And I don't know when that comes. It goes,
So for me, it's been on and off throughout my life. So when I was really struggling emotionally with mental health and addiction, I had zero ability to be by myself. And that's why I turned to drugs and alcohol, because it's a very easy way to cope and to numb feelings of pain. Yeah. Then I went through my recovery journey, and I started to be okay with being alone. And a lot of that came from self-love and self-acceptance. And then now what I feel is that goes up and down as the circumstances around me change. So when my surroundings become uneasy, I find it difficult to be alone. And when everything around me is going almost according to plan, then I feel much safer and much more comfortable being alone. So when COVID happened and we went into lockdown, once I released the powerlessness and control that I wanted to have on the situation, it helped me become more comfortable, because I knew that no matter what I do, it's not going to change anything. Like, obviously, yes, I can do my things. I can wear a mask. I can wash my hands. I can socially distance. Like, I can do those things to help stop the spread. But on a global or nationwide view, I can't do anything. And once I released that feeling, I felt more in control, and then I felt more okay with being alone.
Wow. I like that. No, I really, really, I resonate with that a lot. How do you continue your recovery, if you don't mind me asking? Because I definitely have similar, cornerstones in my life, like similar experiences in my life. So like, how do you, like, have you been on Zoom, or what do you do when you go into lockdown?
In terms of like AA meetings and recovery meetings. So I'm about 6 years sober now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so the first 2 years I went to AA almost every single day. Mm-hmm. And then as time has gone on, I go less and less, and not so much for any reason other than I just feel like I've become much busier. Mm-hmm. But over those 6 years of being there, and I've always gone to the same meetings every single week. Like I'm different. I don't travel too much. I'm sure you're always on the road and in new cities and shooting in new towns, or, like it's hard to have that one community.
Right.
So for me, I've created so many friendships within there that now I just pick up the phone and I call people. So it's less about going on Zoom meetings for AA or recovery programs.
Personal connections now. Oh, wow.
Correct. Calling multiple people throughout the week. And it's almost like a mini AA meeting and a mini check-in that I have with those people.
Yeah, I know. I definitely resonate and with that. I know what you're talking about for sure. Yeah, it has been very, very challenging to, the road of recovery has just been really tested and hard on this time. And it's a great mirror of where you're at, but you are also horrified to look in the mirror. So it's like, it's okay though. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. At first it was difficult, and there's been times where it spikes and it becomes more challenging. And I think a lot of it is because the reason I drank and used drugs is because I felt alone. And I felt isolated, and I felt disconnected with the people around me. And in a lot of ways, that's what lockdown does. I mean, it's exactly what lockdown does. Yeah. So at times it spikes, and it's just reaching out for support and having those people around you that I can call or that you can call and just say, hey, I'm really not doing well. This is what's going on. And almost recreating that community, because it's not able to be in a typical sense of going into an AA meeting or another recovery meeting.
Right. It's about that proactive, you got to take that action. You know what I mean?
Is that something that you've really been struggling with over the past couple of months?
Definitely. It's something that I always struggle with. I think escape is like what I'm addicted to. And, whatever form that comes in is okay by me. And, the more work I do, I don't know, it's just like this continuous rabbit hole, all the way down. Like, when does this end? Where is the base? Where's the foundation? And why do I have to do this every day to just be at a normal level with people? Let alone have ambitions and want to accomplish something. Why do I work so hard to just feel like I'm not totally ruining other people's experiences? And I only mean that with my attitude or with my favorite, why do I have to work so hard to stay that way? And I definitely do the things that I need, medicate, blah 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 blah. I'm very open about that, but it's I'm just want to give the FU to the universe sometimes and be like, what's the deal? What's the deal? I've read the books. I've done this. I'm doing this. It's like an anger that stays a little bit dormant in me, because that's what it's testing in me right now. I gotta level up and figure out what my next move is. And I think I'm just waiting for the universe to give it to me. And I'm mad.
Yeah, I get that. And I remember that feeling too. It's tough because it in some ways it feels like the world's against you. and and that no matter what you do, it's not enough, and it's hard to take that next step. But the one thing that I always remember was it was all the little things that ended up leading to the big things. It was going to my meetings, waking up, working out, eating healthy, doing whatever it may be to get me to that next step. And before I knew it, I was a year sober and doing what I wanted. Then I was 2 years, then 3 years, and 4 years. But it's a tough, tough battle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, wow. That's amazing, and congratulations on your journey. It's good. It's good to hear.
Yeah, thank you. And for you, like, do you feel like you have those people around you to reach out to for support?
I do, but it becomes more a matter of like they can't save me from what is inside. Like that's what I feel like. And like until I really choose to like unless I just really like choose to keep a handle on that internal thing, like it takes me over pretty quickly. So there's definitely people that I've gotten closer to that I've seen a growth in myself and the ability to reach out. But there are still other times when my mind tricks me into thinking like
it's okay to go back
by yourself. Like don't spend the day with it. Even when you're doing small things like going on a hike by yourself, like, and you're just like, I'm not going to call anybody. You don't even realize when you're having a good time, but like if you just need support and to build community, you kind of just need to practice doing it even when you feel good. Like I feel like I do everything solo, like the victories and the failures, and it's like that's my choice, and I think that's what I'm manifesting. But I've learned through this pandemic, and it was also coming into my life already, but it was just like this put the exclamation point on the fact that holy crap, I don't want to be alone, but I don't know how to be with people. And I hurt them when I'm with them a lot. And I really don't have a great knack for choosing the great people to be with me. And so, yeah, that's all just frustrating. So that's good. I mean, I'm good. Like I'm going through, like I'm healthy. I'm okay. I just mean like that mental internal battle that I think we're all going through is almost equal to the external thing we're going through, because we're all experiencing this ego death. And I'm not comparing real death to ego death. I'm just saying it feels the same. Like it feels I'm just saying it feels frightening. Like it feels frightening. Like you're going to die. But you're not going to physically die, but you're going to die to what you kind of thought you believed. And that's what I feel like it's happening inside. Like all of my buildings on the inside are kind of crumbling down in a good way. They were ready. They were rotten. But I don't know, it's so overwhelming. And then you still got to go to the grocery store and like clean your sheets and like, like it's wild.
It's endless. Yeah.
It's really wild.
Sometimes it just feels endless. And I remember that feeling. And sometimes it's still the same thing where it's like, I know I want people around me for those highs and those lows, but I also like being alone now. So how do I balance those? And then also integrating friends and people in recovery, especially like in my first couple of years, it was like, who do I really want by my side, and who do I want there for me? And it was interesting. My sponsor, what he told me was, find people who you want your life to be like. And that was something that really changed my life. And that's why I've surrounded myself with a lot of mentors now. And a lot of those mentors are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, is because they have what I want to have. And it was similar, like I'm sure when you went through recovery and you were told to find a sponsor, it's like find the person in the room that you like their life and that you would like. Yeah. And you want to be like. And it's very similar to friends. It's, who do you want to be in your life and why, and seeking those people who are living the life that you want to live.
Oh my gosh, I'm scared to talk to those people.
I know it's a weird thing. It's like I feel like sometimes it's like being like a little kid again. It's like, hi, nice to meet you. Yeah. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, no, it really, really feels like that. I just like, it's kind of exciting, but it's exciting to know that I don't want to be alone anymore, because it's like that terror for wanting to be with people is equal to kind of like our adrenaline rush. It's like, oh my gosh, I want that love. Whoa, Yeah. But it does feel like being a little kid. Like, please don't reject me. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. And then
yeah.
like
Most people
texting new
don't wanna
friends.
most people don't want to reject you, yo. They just like literally are like, this is my schedule with life. This is your schedule of life. Sometimes that doesn't coincide. And sometimes I take that
Mhm.
really, really personally. I just had this like, thank goodness my friend is like as evolved as this person is, just because I was picking a fight for no reason. And he just was like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm your friend. And
That
don't
was like
worry.
all that and I was like, oh, right. Like I do
Yeah.
like your company. I do like you are somebody that I really look up to, and this is why. Like you hold space for me and can see me and help me like navigate this. Not
Mhm.
that it's his like their responsibility. Like nobody's responsibility is to police you. Like so you definitely have to be proactive about taking responsibility for your own freedom. But it's like when you have slip ups, having people like that in your life to bring you back to center so quickly is such a gift. Like I haven't allowed myself that gift in a long, long time. And I think just this last couple of years that's starting to happen again. And it's uncomfortable, but you want it.
Mhm. Yeah, and having that support around you just can really change your life. Like
Yeah.
it makes it so much easier and so much more fun to go through life with loving and supporting people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that also I learned through lockdown was everyone felt so isolated and so alone that I felt almost like this universal push that like people wanted to connect in different ways. Like people connecting with neighbors that they would never normally speak to, or
Right.
small conversations in elevators because people are conversation deprived, like they're connection deprived. So it was like, and I'm sure with you, same thing. It's like, wow, I'm actually going to go meet my neighbors and see who they are. And rather than just saying, hey, how are you? Like, I'm actually find out what their dog's name is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
Um,
that's so funny that you said that because this like now that I did that once with this one of my neighbors, like she keeps recurring every time I'm outside. She seems to be outside with her dog, and
yeah.
it's really cool. Like my heart kind of just like smiles. She's so like you know what I mean. She just seems like such a bright person. Not even that I know anything about her, but just that I avoided my neighbors like the plague. You know what I mean? Like previously,
Mhm.
and it just feels so nice to come home and not feel that anxiety. Like, because when you have like that, and like, anybody who suffers with anxiety and hasn't quite gotten a handle on it yet is like every single second you just feel in your head and you don't want to even give any of that extra energy to anybody. And like, but it was cool to like make that connection, be like, oh, that wasn't hard. She's cool. She's nice. Like,
Yeah.
I really like seeing her. Like, it doesn't give me that anxiety that I feel when I see people on a routine basis because you feel like you have to be somebody, whatever. It just was like chill.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I didn't realize it would take me this long in my life to open up to people, but who knew?
Yeah, it takes time. Yeah, and then also one of the crazy things was like even just having those small interactions, how much it can brighten up your day, even though you may never go out for dinner or hang out with your neighbor. Just being able to walk by them, smile, and have that little interaction can make a huge difference in a day.
Yeah. Yeah. It can like interrupt the thought pattern that's already going on up here. And you can like, I can be in the weirdest mood and I swear I can say hi to a neighbor or somebody in the hallway and everything kind of lifts.
Mhm.
Like you just kind of realize you keep yourself in this, at least I do. I keep like sometimes I don't even know the thoughts are going. Like my meditation practice is like needs to be upgraded by 100, but it's just it feels like a physical relief at this point to like get those
Mhm.
moments,
Yeah, and one of the things you mentioned earlier was like people's perception of you and the anxiety that's around it. And I was having this conversation with a couple people before, and I've been seeing it a lot on social media. Is the pressure that people feel through social media, and also in that Netflix documentary, it really talked about that a lot around body shaming, anxiety, depression, wanting to always feeling like you have to be a certain way because you have so many people looking at you. Have you felt that that's played an impact on your life?
100%, 112%. I my naivete, susceptibility, and gullibility are both assets and huge downfalls. I don't have, I'm going to be honest, I don't have the best judgment. I don't. Like, I think with my emotions, feel with my emotions, talk with my, like, I'm just an emotional person. So, I get really, really affected by any feedback. And
Mhm.
that people pleasing thing that has always been in me, whether like, I mean, starting with my own internal family to this like work now. I mean, you don't even realize the smile on your face is because it's satisfying the people pleasing like disease in you. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
not even real joy that you feel when you receive these accolades. It's not lasting and it's not joy, and it's so hard to realize that. Like, you work so hard to build something and then you realize, wow, I've really neglected myself and this isn't even really about me, but I feel like I have to keep up this persona because it's the only way that I feel successful. And it is painful.
I see. So it's almost a feeling in the sense where it's like, unless I am happy, I will not be in the spotlight. And if I'm not in the spotlight, I'm not making money. And if I'm not making money, I'm not successful. So I must
Right.
always be smiling.
Right. Or at least self-deprecating, or at least like doing something to like not be honest or sugarcoat it or spin it, or because definitely I wouldn't be known as the happy person outside. Like, I talk about my emotions, I'm pretty like whatever about them, but they still just really affect me on a personal basis. And I definitely feel like, unless you like, especially for I'm feeling like the woman culture thing here. Like, if you don't put yourself out as a certain way, and really in your head, even though you're like, I'm smart, I still have this ancestral programming about my physical appearance and body being like my primary source of equity and
Mhm.
power. And I didn't even realize that. Like, you don't even realize you're playing into those stereotypes. You're like, I'm just feeling myself. It's like, no, this is the only way that I think that people will give me love and affection, you know?
Mhm.
And, um, that's not true. It's hard to come to. All the cliches
Yeah.
are true, folks.
Yeah. And it's tough because so much of the external validation that we get is through picture applications, through Instagram, through TikTok, and through Facebook. A lot of the validation people get is through strictly a picture. Um, and a funny
Which,
comment that really doesn't do anything.
there are 47,000 apps to auto tune, and just
Yeah.
like I don't know, just talk about it like an absolute illusion that I find
Mhm.
myself subscribing to. And in my right mind, I'm like, there's just such an inner conflict. And I know at some point something's going to win over, and I'm either going to see the higher thing and find these resonant things, or I'm going to change direction altogether and just figure out what works for me.
Mhm.
But I just like, I don't want to be controlled by this forever. And I definitely don't want to age under this, pretense, under this like idea, because it's only going to get harder as you get older, as you see age start to come like,
Mhm.
I already see that. Like, I already see that. I'm 31 and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the like everything. I don't even know if I am, but I'm trying. But it's like I see it already, and so I can't imagine if you don't start to evolve your thoughts now, how scary that will be. Like, when you're
Mhm.
as you grow and you don't have that to fall back on.
Yeah, you can't. There's no Photoshop or photo editing software out there for real life. Yeah.
For real life, and that's great. Like, that is so great. Like, it honestly is. Like, we're so obsessed with this one idea of beauty. um it's really wild, and I can't even like break it in myself. It's some of my favorite, I don't know, some of my favorite actors and actresses. It's like beauty has nothing to do with your attraction to their energy, their soul, their anything. But yet I still feel so attached to my image.
Mhm.
So it's hard, but you got to do work every day to break that, because I do not want to be so scared of my age. God bless that I make to 50. I don't want to be scared to look in the mirror. And I don't think that I actually have the balls to do plastic surgery, but we'll see in 10 years.
And how do you think we make that shift, with our generation and future generations? Because to be completely honest, I've done it a couple times too. I've seen people, whiten their teeth in photo apps or get rid of the bags on their eyes. I did that for a little bit. I was just like, why not? Like it's there. It's a click of a button. It takes 2 seconds and everyone else is doing it. So why not? And then I realized I was just like, you know what? I sleep 4 hours a night. I'm always going to have bags on my eyes. That's okay. My teeth aren't going to be like sparkly white because I'm not in a Crest commercial. That's okay. And I stopped doing it. I don't even know if I really stopped for any specific reason or just that I was just taking the extra 20 minutes to like whiten teeth. I was just like, oh, it's not worth it. But how do you think we make that shift? Because I am seeing a lot of influencers and a lot of influential people now talking on Instagram about how they used to edit photos and how they're not editing photos. Like, how do you think we make that shift?
I think,
or is that shift even possible?
Of course that shift is possible. Every shift is possible. We control the universe, my friend. This thing is an electrical box. Everything out here is an electrical wave. Like, we're plugged in. And when we focus and when we talk about things, we got to talk things out so that things don't get stagnant in this electrical box and we like have short circuits all over the place. But I think we keep talking about it. And I completely agree with you. Like, I definitely still Facetune some of my photos, but I've realized I've posted a couple that look so over edited. I'm just like, holy crap. I like the more natural thing anyway. Like, I'm good. I don't want to blemish on my face, but I don't want to hyper and auto and blah. So being conscious of your own journey of stepping back and accepting what you look like, that started to happen for me. Like, I'm really self-conscious of my smile. Like, I'm like starting to either take better care of myself so I feel better in a photo, or just step back off of those editing software things and you do it at the pace that you can do it. And then you realize, does this really need to be output if I need to edit it this much? Like, what about this photo am I resonating with if it's not either the feeling or and there are some days when you're like, damn, I do look hella good. You know what I mean? Like, in the right light, in the right sunlight, you have whatever on. I'm just saying it's a balance. And I think we make it a standard every time we post a picture. Like, equality is not a bar, it's levels. Like, that's what I think. Like, whatever anybody needs, like not everybody's starting from the same place. So it's like, I just think you need to be gentle with yourself. Take definitely at least 1 day a week off of social media. 1 day a week. And literally ask yourself, if you're editing something that much, why are you posting it? You know what I mean? And who's paying you to post that? Because if you're going to spend that much of your own time to get your own friends to like you or fans of your work to like you, that is an illusion that is going to be so heavy, and it's going to affect every other time you want to post something. It's going to take your spontaneity away, your freedom, your own image control is going to go away from you. You know what I mean? Because now you're doing it for this, like, for all these other people. And I don't know, like, I just think a little bit more consciousness and awareness and slowing the fuck down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think it's going to be such a tough thing to correct, because there's a lot of people who feel self-worth in the amount of likes that they get on a photo, and that they feel that if they are their true self and show the picture of how it is or whatever it may be, then people won't like them.
But here's the thing. Unless you take that day off of social media and take a date, unless you actually look in the mirror and come to terms with what you look like, you're going to have a way harder time with your self-worth getting shattered later than you are right now if you start to take tiny steps to correct. Look, shift is always possible, but you're right. It's the tiny steps. We can't get from one polarity to another. We can't even get a quarter. We can't even get an eighth of the way. Like, you have to do it in baby steps, and you have to be willing to give yourself that discipline. The best gift you can give yourself is discipline, which I am not an example of, but I know that. And I try to expand my awareness so that it comes into like my physical manifestation. It's hard. Discipline sucks. We are not a generation raised on discipline, but it is the most important thing you can do for yourself in your future. And if you can't find that for yourself, then I'm sorry, you're in for a rude awakening. And I don't feel bad for you. It's not that I don't have empathy, but I don't feel bad because this is all of our work in life. Everybody is in pain like this. Like, it's hard to balance and choose discipline and choose the right thing, and you're not always going to do it. It's not like it's not like a write this in stone, I'm never going to do this again. It's an effort towards taking the focus off of yourself and off of the comparison game, and literally just realizing we're all in this together.
That was a great movie.
Like, and unless you're willing to police yourself or mother yourself, father yourself, nobody can do that for you, not even your own parents. Like, yes, they can give you guidelines, but you yourself have got to make the choice, especially as you grow older, like which wolf you're going to feed on your shoulders. You know what I mean? Like, the good one or the one that's like tripper. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And so much of just learning to be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a real tough thing. I feel like we're all our own toughest critics.
Yeah.
And just learning to be okay with that. But it's tough because there can be a lot of negative energy around. And I'm sure, in my life, I guess it's different. Like, you're on a public platform and you're, a big celebrity. So like, there's more people, who you're in contact with than the average folk. And I just can't imagine how difficult it is. And I just hope that there is this shift, because we do need a lot more kindness and a lot more love and a lot more support for those around us, because we really don't know what everyone else is struggling with.
Right. All of those things in triplicate. Yes. And just acceptance, not only for where they are, but where we are. Like, I think we all try to live as our best selves, and our skills sometimes don't match up to our expectations. And that's where we shame spiral and we compare people and we guilt and like, you're not supposed to be at the highest vision of yourself every day or yet or ever. Like, that's something you work towards. You don't just reach it and then you're there every day. You earn it every day. You choose it every day. And I think when we really understand that we are in control of how we are affected by things, and like our own, like, once we find that discipline that like these external likes are not filling that void, and we're still angry at Thanksgiving dinner and at our family when all of these likes should have made us like the most grateful person in the world, like, we're going to realize that's not it. Jim Carrey said it. He goes, I hope everybody in the world gets exactly what they want so that they can realize that that's still not it. Like, get as many likes as you can, break the internet. You think Kylie Jenner feels any happier getting 3 billion likes or like 9 million, billion, trillion, 17? She's
no difference.
Affected by her new daughter. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I don't even know, whatever. But it's like, at a certain point, does it matter? It doesn't. Like, it doesn't change anybody's quality of life. We are all still on this burning rock that we're killing. Like, and it's because of these ideas we have, and this like that start with things like social media, and then just like ripple out into all of the things that we touch.
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly it can snowball and really spread its tentacles into so many different things around us. Like, it starts with one, a year later, it's in like 100 different ways throughout our lives. Yeah, so that's why, I don't know, I just hope that through all of this, that people have learned to be more compassionate of others, and that it's, to me in my life, this is the first time that I feel like everyone on the planet is going through the exact same thing, which is a very, very rare thing to say. Like, these fires that are burning in California, where you currently are, I'm up in Canada. Those do not impact my day-to-day life in any means,
Right.
or earthquakes or whatever may happen. And we have brutal winters that will never impact your life unless you're up here for a quick visit, which you never would during the winter. And I do not blame you for that. But this is the first
winter now. I've heard about it from a couple people. Like, you guys build underground malls and stuff, right? To like get through it.
No. And there would be in some cities like Winnipeg where it gets real bad, where they just would have underground walkways that would take you pretty far throughout the city, because like you're just not going outside. But it's just crazy.
So cool. Do you ever feel just like da-da-da-da? Yeah. No, because I bet
it's what I'm used to.
Like walking,
it's just what I'm used to. But it's crazy because this is the first time that we've all gone through the same thing, and I think it's going to take us a while to get out of this. But hopefully, once we do, we realize that this was something that touched us all. This is what we all learned as a group, not as individuals, but as a group. And I really do hope that it brings us together and makes everyone more compassionate to those around us.
I completely agree. And just like I think if we were able to look at history with more compassionate eyes, I think we could change our future much more quickly than we even know. If we could look at horrible things that happened in the past, genocides, dictatorial like rule, like just all the myriad of things that are unjust and horrific, and that I don't even, if we could really look at those things instead of shaming ourselves and looking for somebody to punish, those things wouldn't keep happening. Like history repeats itself because we're missing something. There shouldn't be people still dying like this. War shouldn't even be still on the table. How have you not learned through I'm sorry. That sounds like 2 6-year-olds in the backyard being like, if I shoot more of your guys, you win. If you shoot more, and it's real life carnage that we are justifying. It's archaic. It's absolutely archaic. But the reason that it still goes on is because we look at the death toll with shame, and the winners say that it was worth it because of the freedoms that you won that are still restricted and kept to the 1% of people who can afford, like who can buy them. We got to look at these situations more. And I think if we could, we would start to treat everybody with more compassion, and we could rise above this gender line, this race line, this blah, 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 blah. Yes, they need to be drawn, and yes, we need to understand them, but there is a level above these emotions, and we are ready for that. And I think that's what this is, like this evolution in our consciousness. It's got to rise us above these differences we have, because there are no differences. You know what I mean? They're external, so it's just like, if we can just look at it with compassion and just realize, we made a mistake by killing, freaking 80 million people in this one thing. Yeah, why did we do that? I don't know. Let's not do it again. Like next year, like I don't even get how that's not something, how we just still see that as something viable.
Sometimes people just don't learn. And as a society, we don't learn. But I would have to say, over the past couple of months, I have seen a massive, massive shift in the world, and what's been happening from a grassroots level, and how individual people are coming together as communities and creating massive, massive change in the world, and amazing conversation around things that have needed these conversations for many generations.
For so long. And you're right, dude. I think we're just entering this tunnel where a lot of toes
going to change.
Stepped on, but I think we all need to come to this agreement that if you're going to step on somebody's toes, it's not a gun to your toes, man. Like it's not. So just say you're sorry and listen to them, and then because there is a compromise somewhere. Nobody's polarity is 100% correct, and we are all just serving our own egos right now by not serving the truth. And yes, truth is relative, subjective, you know what I mean? But there is a bar of truth that governs us all. And we definitely have chosen not to reach it as a society, as humans, as friends, as family. Like, there is just a bar of decency to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm myself included. So it's a hard lesson. It's going to be a long shift, but we are definitely starting it. And I bet this is what every generation who like felt like they, you know what I mean, who were really making those evolution. I bet this is how they felt, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if we look back to our grandparents' generations, for example, how much has changed from their generation to ours? And because it's tough. Like sometimes you look at these changes and you're like, oh my God, it's going to take forever to change. And then you just think, okay, 2 generations ago, our grandparents were living this way. Like it's a completely different world than to what it is today. And I think these changes will continue to happen. And as a more of these movements start happening, and I think as people start to realize that by creating equality, it's building up everyone, not tearing people down, I think that will really help. Because I think there are some people who do view equality as taking down other people. It's just making everyone equal, which everyone should be.
I don't even understand how we've gotten that confused. And I guess myself too, because there's got to be some. I know that there are some, like, not even subconscious sometimes. Sometimes I can't even like treat my friends as equals or my parents. You know what I mean? Like, I get that. Like, it sounds so simple, but I'm definitely a perpetrator, and you know, just you got to be more aware of the output you're giving out. It's nobody's fault that we are where we are, and your frustration is still valid. And you know what I mean? We just, I don't know, got to find a little bit more compassion for ourselves, this earth, each other. And then I think things will start changing. But why is that the hardest emotion for us? Why is being angry and being sad so much easier?
Well, because it's uncomfortable.
To be happy?
No, not to be happy. Sometimes people, I feel like even for myself, is sometimes it's hard to describe it, but sometimes change can be really uncomfortable for people because it's something different and they don't know what's around the bend and they don't want their lives to be changed. And going on the same path every single day feels good. You know what it's going to be. And that change can sometimes be pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you felt it in recovery too. It's just like, this is my life. Why would I want to change it? I know what I'm going to be doing every single day, and I know what to expect every single day. Yeah. And making that decision to change and completely change your life, because I'm sure it's drastically different than it was years ago, is scary.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably the toughest thing, is getting over that fear of change.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like really hard on people because I think it should be so easy, and because sometimes I feel like an example of it, and sometimes I feel like the reason for it. You know what I mean? Like the reason the change is needed. You're both, but it's like, yeah, I got to cut people some slack on this change thing.
Yeah, because it's
surrounded by terror.
Yeah, and it's tough because, you know, like in recovery, for example, there are many people out there who could be like, I don't understand how you can just keep drinking. Like, why can't you just stop? Why can't you just stop doing coke or whatever it is? You know, like, it's, when you look at it that way, it's easier to understand. Some people, it's not that easy. Some people can just put down a glass of vodka and not drink it for a year. I am unable to do that. Maybe you're unable to do that. So it's looking, change it relative to where people are in their lives and what they're willing to do. And it's not so easy. Yeah.
No, that's a really great like analogy for that.
Yeah. It's not an easy one. Because I know, like, so many people in my family just stop. I'm like, it's not that easy.
No, I was thinking of my aunt. Exactly.
Yeah. And it was funny because
I love her. She accompanied me in my first AA meeting and where I was getting help, and just started getting help. But she just walked out of the meeting, and I swear, I know she was just terrified, but it came out as just screaming at me, like, just don't drink anymore. Just don't
do it.
Don't do it. And I was like, do you think I'm 7 years old and I'm putting my hand in the cookie jar too many times?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when this started. But like, honestly, like, babe, if that was the solution, do you think I would have blown up my entire life? Like,
Yeah.
you think I would have changed this drastically? I left LA for 2 years. Homie, I've been here
Mhm.
since I was 12. Like,
Yeah.
girl, I got you. Stop drinking. We both got that as
Yeah.
objective, but they don't give credit to it being a disease because they see it as such like a thing that you're
A choice.
willingly
Yeah.
doing.
Correct.
And I think like yeah, you can't understand the overwhelming level of anxiety unless you have it. People can
Yeah.
get through it in any way they like. They can say, go work out, go do your thing, blah, blah, blah. It's just different for some people. And you
Yeah.
cannot get the idea to go away. And you almost feel like the chatter won't stop until it happens. And if you don't know what
Mhm.
that's like, that's okay. But it's there. You know what I mean? And it's it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's funny you say that because I was speaking with one of my grandparents at the first, couple weeks of my recovery. My grandmother was just stop drinking, like just stop doing drugs. Like just don't do it. And my grandmother loves McDonald's French fries, and she just wasn't getting it. So I was just like, Grandma, it's like me saying, just have one fry. Like, who would just have one fry? That's what my grandma was saying. She's like, who would just have one fry? That's so stupid. I'm like, that's how I feel about drugs and alcohol. I can't just have one. Some people can. I cannot. Once I have one, I keep
I
going.
need the bottle.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just explaining it to people that it is a
Oh, did
disease.
she resonate with that? She got that?
Yeah, every once in a while I have to remind her. She goes, "Oh, do you ever think you're going to drink again?" I go, "No." Like, I'm not. She goes, "Oh, like even for special occasions or celebrations?" I go, "No, because I know, maybe today if I had one drink, fast forward 3 months down the road, I'd be drinking every single day again. Once I start, I can't stop." And now they get it for the most part, but it's a tough thing because it's such a foreign idea for so many people
Yeah.
that it is hard for them to wrap their head around why I'm having so much difficulty stopping something that I am willingly doing
I know.
Yeah.
I feel you. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like this was it's so good to hear. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing this with me. I realize this
Thank
is the little turn it would take, but
Yeah.
it definitely
Yeah.
is a good reminder today. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Thank
I'm
you.
like still in the middle of the early parts of my journey, and it's still hard.
Yeah. It's not easy. And honestly, thank you so much for doing this and being open and sharing your story. I know it can be so difficult, and I really, really appreciate it.